You have to dye you buy bland fabrics and then have to dye them to the colors you want.
We try to get the fabrics already. Sometimes they're custom dyed, but we try to get the fabrics that we know that the manufacturers would be able to get. Sometimes we'll find fabric here that's very unique and we know that it's just not available anyway, and we'll ship it over there for them. But we generally try to stick with the fabrics that are already come the color that they are, and that we know that either we can get enough yardage of it or that the manufacturers can.
I was noticing the pinstripes on the trousers there, something like that seems to be kind of unique.
Yeah,
and
custom. That's a sample of custom print work, like this stuff. Yeah, the scale. If we tried to use real stripe trouser fabrics, those stripes are about that far apart. Yeah. So that's a good example.
Pretty hard.
Yeah.
Has the demand grown for these?
Tremendously.
Really?
Yeah.
Foreign demand?
Since 2004, that's when I started. They had did one quarter scale figure of Nosferatu, Max Schreck, the 20s, 20s, yeah, like this. And then they brought me on, and that's been nearly 10 years now. Yeah, next year we'll make it 10 years. And again, there was some initial in the business because they thought, oh, they're large, who has space for these things, or you can't customize them, you can't dress them or undress them. And man, they took off like a shot, like a rocket. We could hardly keep up with the demand. And yeah, and as you were mentioning, the amount of products is always, just keep going up and up and up and up. And
how about the half scale? Are there a lot of those?
we've done maybe about 10 of those, ranging. We did a half scale Darth Vader. We did a half scale Obi-Wan. We did a half size Indiana Jones. Did a half size Iron Man. Yeah, they stand. They're half my size. They're coming up to here. Yeah, but those things can go in the thousands of dollars. Again, worldwide, there are people that snatch those things up.
Is all your manufacturing done overseas? Is all your manufacturing done overseas? You just design them here and then the manufacturing is done overseas?
Pretty much, yes.
You keep mentioning sending things overseas.
Yes. Yeah, we do all the designing and all the prototypes, all of that. We work out exactly, so there's no question. You include, as far as the garments are concerned, you even include seam allowance here. So, and then this line here, that's called a grain line. And that grain line is always put parallel to the edge of the fabric. And so you work it out entirely. And paint masters, the people who do these paint masters, which I'm sure this one was, they'll do it exactly so, and then they'll put the colors and make a list of the colors, and then a sample like that will be sent over there too. So we take care of everything that could possibly, any contingency that possibly can go wrong, or things like that.
You mentioned that most everything is limited edition. Approximately how many figures do you have available in your catalog at any one time?
Oh, well, for example, this is an older catalog, but These are 6-scale things, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 of those.
You probably have 100 or more items
Yeah.
available at any one time in the catalog.
Yes, yeah, I would say.
And I
you know,
realize that's how long is a piece of string, but
more than, c'est moi?
Hey,
Hey,
know
hey!
that guy.
Say, yeah, and so these are some of the early quarter scales. I did that. I did these. I didn't do these. Somebody else did that. But I made the clothes for Hellboy. I did those. Somebody did that, but I did that.
Well, licensing must be paying too. Paying for
You did the
approval
bonds?
from the license holders?
They do. They take care of all the licensing. But I'm not involved with that. I don't know how much they pay. I did those. This was the first one that they did before my arrival. That was the first one that I did for them back in 2004. Okay. So yeah, and other than that, they have solid resin busts. They have solid cast figurines. They do artwork as well.
a very extensive inventory.
Yeah, yeah. So, right, and so it changes every year. And if you go online, you can get the whole lowdown on on what they have now. They, a number of years ago, Lord of the Rings was huge. And so they had the license for that. And then that lasted, Lord of the Rings was like maybe about 5 years worth of manufacturing because everyone loved that. Star Wars is now and forever. There will never be, it seems like there will never be an end to interest in Star Wars fans. And so we have a line of just
So you have
stormtroopers, which David can tell you about.
You have something that would basically be open stock then, really, almost, are continuing on as opposed to being limited.
Well, the thing with, once you call something limited to, like you have a white stormtrooper, limited edition of a 500.
Yeah.
You can't actually make any more of them because,
Destroy the collectability.
Yeah, right, and you get your customers angry. Hey, wait a minute, I thought I only had one of 500. But you can have variations. You can have like 20 variations. And David, why don't you talk about painting? And you must, they have all of these varieties of stormtroopers, right?
Oh, yeah, and they're all weathered differently.
And they're all weathered differently.
Different markings.
Different markings and chips and...
Yeah,
Different
Boba Fett.
weapons
Yeah, like, did you
I did
you do the...
Paymaster.
Oh, well, you get up here for a second.
Well, actually, some of it actually is open stock so far as the subject is concerned, but not necessarily the pose of the piece.
Right, exactly. So, right,
Yeah.
I didn't realize he did the master. He did the paint master when I'm talking about
Yeah,
their
like Greg
artists.
was talking about all the reference pictures. You should have seen all the reference pictures I had on that, just pieces of armor. And so, all these people that are Star Wars fanatics, if the chip isn't right there, you'll hear about it. So, that was a lot of work.
Yeah, so these aren't just generically placed chips. These are actually movie
Tried to get it as close as possible.
and in the same place. Even,
Yeah.
You got the little things like that. It's there.
Yeah, so it's not just where the chips are, it's the colors too. I mean, they're very particular, what type of green and all sorts of stuff. And there's forums that just talk about the paint colors. And, some of them reference to like German, whatever, Panzer green, whatever. So, but it's a lot of work, but when it comes together,
Did Lucasfilm
all
or whatever provide you any
Yeah,
color?
that's what Greg was talking about.
Yeah.
Those pictures are from the archives.
They tell you like paint colors to use or no?
They show images, but not so much.
Yeah,
the
for
actual
example,
They
paint
don't have
colors.
like a.
That's a
Right.
close-up of what they had in their archive that wasn't lifted off of the DVD. And so that gives a really good indication exactly where all these chips are.
And I suppose Would the color on here would be different?
You have to
when
be
you put it on
careful,
screen,
you know,
it's gonna change.
ink colors, the paper,
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
computer.
Yeah, and for example, this one is a little more amber.
Computer screen might look different,
overall.
whatever,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's always discussions. And
Yeah.
You find out what works best and what'll make people happy.
Dude, this is not, it's supposed to be here, not here. I'm setting it back, I'm setting it
Yeah,
back,
right.
I'm setting it back.
And even on the forums, they still, you know, some people still aren't happy, but enough of them were.
So you're probably reading them going, no, I checked that out.
Well,
It's right in the right spot. Right.
you read to a point and then it's like, that's
Now, on
enough.
something like that, do you send just,
Not off the subject, are you?
just paint
are
one
you
copy, or do
involved in
you-
any costume design?
Sometimes it's 2 or 3 and things have to be.
No. No, but, I don't have any movies coming up, but every year there is a big Hollywood red carpet affair called the Silver Spur Awards. That's just for directors and producers and writers and actors of Westerns. And it's been going on for 16 years now, and really it is really a celebrity star-studded thing. And they asked me for the first time to appear this year as the Lone Ranger. So I'm going to be wearing that stuff from last year.
Great.
I'm going to be, I'll be like set decoration there this year. And that's going to be the last weekend of this month, yeah. Which is why I got my hair cut short and dyed black again.
Well, you know what?
Normally it's
Also,
longer
go to
and brown
Grauman's
than
Chinese theater and
sideburns.
hang out in front.
Hey?
You can hang out in front of the Grauman's Chinese theater. There's a lot of people out there. Get your picture taken with a woman.
That's right. That's right. The cops come along, you can't use those guns.
Yeah.
Are you gonna rent a horse?
Yeah, but,
I just have one more question. On the Indiana Jones, what are the actual colors of it, like his pants and stuff? Because it's like a weird between color,
I thought it was like a gray-green color.
gray green.
Yeah.
Taupe,
Taupe?
taupe,
Is that taupe?
kind of.
Yeah, what color is that?
The pants or
Yeah.
the jacket?
The pants.
Either one.
Pants and jacket, either one. I'm colorblind, which is why I'm asking.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the pants are like a brownish, kind of a touch of green, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the jacket, I remember you mentioning something about the jacket, they made it a little more green than it should have been. But it's a dark brown.
Oh, that's right. Again, a customer had said that.
Yeah, it has a tint of green.
Does it?
You said was actually off from what you originally wanted.
Yeah, I remember now.
What do you see?
Well, I see colors. It's not black and white, but I always have to have somebody there when I go shopping.
Isn't it the green and red, or confusing it? It's kind of a brown.
Is it generally the
Green and red
the
look
green
very
red?
similar.
And although I can see scarlet, a red, if it's mixed with anything, just mixed with the blue, I can't see it. Like, there's no purple to me. There's no purple, there's no lavender, lilac. And the same thing in browns and greens. There's no difference between brown and green to me.
You do see a difference between green and red.
Occasionally, yes, I can, yes. But I only know, like grass I know is green, just because they always say it's green. But like on a traffic light, the green on a traffic light is white to me. I see absolutely nothing what they're calling green there. If there are both greens and browns in this, I wouldn't be able to tell you. So that's why my forte is sculpting and making the clothes. And I did that for years and years and years for movies and for TV. I was in charge of making all the costumes for Waterworld and Starship Troopers, and I've made clothes for Raquel Welch and Paula Abdul. So I'm very good, and of course all these girls here, the photograph, I'm very good, because that's all linear. It's very mathematical, taking measurements and patterning something out and cutting and stitching up. But when I go out to shop for the fabrics, I always have to have someone with me and saying, oop, oop, That's not yellow, Greg, that's chartreuse. Yeah, yeah. And picking the matching threads for those patterns too, for those fabrics too. But yeah, I'm very, very good at doing the patterns and sculpting bodies and things like that. But again, I wouldn't have been able to say what really any of these colors are. But yeah, as you pointed out, when we do the master here, then when it goes over to the manufacturer, then they are the ones that they'll shop around their fit, and so they may not, be as totally anal about it as we are, and so then that's when we could run into problems with customers saying, that's a little on the green side.
Well, I just wonder too, like the translation between the actual costume and film is that the same color even all the time? You know what I mean? Like is it?
Oh, you mean because of the lighting?
On camera, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, so you
that-
probably want a
Exactly.
sculpture that looks like what it looks like on camera. Probably.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. I did, speaking of that, one of the other things I did back in the 90s was I worked on the original Deep Space Nine in Star Trek. And if anybody here is really into Star Trek, before that it was spandex jumpsuits, and Deep Space Nine was the first. It took place on a space station, and so now they're in coveralls. A non-stretch woven coverall, and then they had the same kind of color-coded up here on the top. For red, and then color-coded in the red here, on camera, on TV, it's red, but if you saw one of those in actual person, it's like a fuchsia color. It's like a light fuchsia color, and they do that because that color looks red on camera. So for you go to Comic-Con or any of the Star Trek conventions, and the guys are walking around in real life wearing these uniforms, it's actually not what you see in the Paramount wardrobe department. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, class dismissed.